Welcome to Newsline proper. In Nigeria's urban centers where life is busy and demanding, more people are choosing or finding themselves living alone. For some, it offers independence and privacy. But behind closed doors, it can also mean isolation and unseen vulnerability. Ibrahim Dan Hamidu explores what it truly means to live alone and how not to be alone.
How many people live unseen? Behind closed doors, routines repeat. Work, home, rest, with little connection to the world just next door.
People should be able to reach out to people and say, this is what is wrong with me, this is where I am, this is what is going on with me at every given time, so that the other party is able to say, okay, let me show some concern, let me spare a thought for this other person.
In many neighborhoods, proximity does not always mean connection. A greeting is exchanged, doors close, and lives continue separately, sometimes without anyone truly noticing.
For instance, let us flip the coin. If anything happens to me, I expected my neighbor, at least in a humanity form, should be able to reach out to me, knock on my door. I haven't seen you a couple of times and the rest of that. So these are the things that create awareness and subconsciousness.
For those who live alone, simple steps can make a difference. Staying in touch, sharing routines, and building trust with those nearby. Because safety is not only about locks and doors, but about people.
Having a pet is also a plus. Especially pets who are very sensitive, like dogs, like you mentioned, so they could just sniff something is wrong and start barking. And if they create that attention, you hear them bark even at night when there's maybe some movements and all of that. They try to awake people.
Beyond safety, there is also the question of emotional well-being. Living alone, experts say, does not have to lead to loneliness, but it requires balance, intentional connection, and a sense of belonging. In a society built on community, the responsibility is shared. A call, a greeting, a moment of concern. These small acts can bridge the distance between strangers.
When we are talking of the modern day housing unit estate, nothing stops you from creating and be part of the housing of the resident association that are in your area. Nothing stops you from working together with people around, so that when you don't see yourself, you call yourself. In fact, there is one that I read one day. They were in a particular street. All of them, they have a group that everybody must say good morning the moment you wake up in that your group, and everybody on the group must say something. So in the moment they did see you say something, by 12 somebody will come and knock your house.
When you are in a neighborhood, people must know you. I'm not saying you have to make yourself available to everybody, but even if it is good morning, that is sufficient. If you greet your neighbor good morning, they know you are alive. And when you are coming back from office, you greet people. Our culture also calls that for us to live as a fellowship with others.
Living alone does not have to mean being alone. With awareness, balance, and connection, it can also become a space for clarity, growth, and well-being. Because sometimes being seen can make all the difference.
I agree, being seen can make all the difference. You must strike a balance. You know, there's something about being alone when you are alone for a very long time. It's weird. That's just the word. It is weird. So try to relate, say hi, hello. You know, it goes a long way. A single signature can seal a deal, transfer ownership, or bind a person to obligations that last a lifetime. Yet, in today's fast-paced world, many people rush through paperwork, signing contracts, bank forms, and agreements without pausing to read the fine prints. In that split second of haste, a crucial step is skipped. Yes, understanding exactly what is being agreed to. But do you know that this act of sign first, read later can come with costly legal and financial consequences? What really happens when you sign what you haven't read? Joy Iluegbu will tell us.
A form is handed over, a few blanks are filled, and a signature follows almost immediately. For many, the fine print is either too long, complex, or simply not worth the time, and so they go ahead to simply sign without first reading it. Financial documents, job agreements, tenancy forms, and even online registrations, terms and conditions which require one to read through before consenting are often skipped.
Most times I read the instructions, but when it's much and I don't have the time to do that, I will just have to ask. But sometimes I do read.
You might land yourself in trouble without reading, just filling forms without reading. Might be something that has to do with your money. You go filling form and later you see that there's actually a deduction because you didn't read some terms and conditions.
I read out the information because is what informs you of what you are going to fill.
Legal practitioners say a signature is binding and failure to read documents before signing can lead to unintended legal obligations, hidden charges, and loss of rights.
Before you sign a document, look at the content very well. After the signature colon, look behind, beneath it, whether there's other things they wrote there. Because you could sign without knowing there are other things they wrote underneath. And usually they write it in tiny letters. Don't just read where you are told to sign. Some people just say, okay, this is my name, my signature, date, you sign, and leave the rest. No. Start from beginning and read to the end.
No matter the relationship, we should endeavor to look at the document, go through it, and know the reason why we are signing. So that you don't just sign something that will, become a problem tomorrow.
With the rise of mobile apps and online platforms, there is also a growing concern in the digital space as users often click "I agree" without reviewing data policies, exposing their personal information to potential misuse. Observers attribute this trend to several factors, including trust in the institution, time pressure, and in some cases, the complexity of legal language.
Sometimes I trust the institution. So when they give me the form, I believe they won't put me into trouble.
It is assumed as an adult, most especially, that anything you sign to means you have read properly and you'll be accountable for it. In a case where you don't read properly and you go ahead to sign, if you're called upon and they say, why did you sign this? This is what you are. You say, oh, sorry, I didn't read. That is not, ignorance of the law is not an excuse.
Overall, analysts insist the solution is simple. Pause, read, and ask questions where necessary, because in the end, that quick signature can come with long-term consequences.
Please don't trust the institution. The information might be much, but you need to read through carefully, never be in a haste. To sign a document, you have to read carefully, because if you don't, it carries grave consequences. Thank you. Now, from the majestic lion to silent leopard, ancient African kingdoms have long wielded the symbols of the wild to represent their power. In this report, Neka Ono explores the deep significance behind these animal motifs, speaking with 3 traditional rulers to uncover the stories and traditions behind their chosen signs of office.
For generations across the Southeast, symbols defined identity of certain people and authority. Communities across the Southeast earnestly guarded symbols that defined who they were. The python in many Igbo communities symbolized protection and ancestral presence. Harming it was seen as a grave taboo. The lion represented strength and kingship, a metaphor for courage and leadership. Rivers marked territorial domain and spiritual boundaries, often regarded as life-giving and sacred. Even traditional currencies and artifacts reflected economic power and cultural sophistication. Within palace walls, these symbols affirmed a ruler's domain, not just over land, but over heritage, spirituality, and communal order.
Some part of our own side of Igbo, we don't kill traditional, we call it python. There's AK in Igbo land. You might see some of the palace, you see AK carved in the chair under the traditional rulers. Structure like lion, tiger, or any other thing there, just to signify what they adore as their symbol of the town.
It shows authority, and the animals they use are such animals that can devour any human being. I came and saw it and imitated them.
Today, many of those palaces present a different outlook. Coats of arms, national emblems, and contemporary religious symbols now stand alongside in place of older sacred objects. Several traditional rulers describe the ancient symbols as historical representation of identity rather than objects of worship.
Today, Christianity has changed everything. If you come to an Israel's palace, whatever is there is for decoration.
Observers link this transition to the growing influence of religion.
You cannot see some of it here because the Bible said that all things had gone away. They have made it to be new. That is Jesus Christ.
It is inherited basic. You will go through many rituals of the community before it can become that easy. So he cannot tell lies. He cannot tell bribe. He will be honest. He will stay forward. Contrarily, that's the end of it. But it's not now like that nowadays.
As time unfolds, the question lingers: can tradition and faith coexist, or will one gradually replace the other?
Well, this is History in Brief, another way of learning about our cultures and traditions. Thank you, Neka. Now to another culture. As modern salons rise and contemporary trends reshape cultures, the age-old craft of the Ma'aska traditional barber stands at crossroads, threatened yet unbroken. For over 3 decades, Abubakar Aliyu Wanzam has been holding firmly to a fading heritage, clinging to tools, techniques and values passed down through generations. Abdullahi Umar Ilalo will tell us about this trade.
As early morning begins, Abubakar Aliyu Wanzam steps out of his house with his tools, clippers, blades, and a small bag. For more than 30 years, barbing has been his only source of income. The trade was handed down to him by his father, and today it feeds his family and pays the bills. Every day, he walks to an open space in Unworowo, where traditional barbers known as Ma'aska gather to work. Here, customers sit patiently on their makeshift shades, waiting their turn. The atmosphere is simple and familiar. For many residents, it is affordable, convenient, and trusted. Barbing, locally called aski, is learned through apprenticeship. It demands patience, steady hands, and the trust of customers. For Abubakar, each haircut represents continuity, keeping alive a skill passed from one generation to another. Although modern salons are increasing across Sokoto, traditional barbers like Abubakar say their relevance remains strong. They have adapted to changing times by improving hygiene practices and adopting safer tools. Customers say they value the experience not just for haircuts, but for the sense of familiarity and community.
Somebody advised me. He's even the one that brought me here for the first 10 years. So he asked me, I told him that anytime I use this local barber, my head used to have these brushes and some other thing. That now directed me to him. So I came, he barbed me, and he used one, I don't know, there's one local medicine that I used to stretch my head. So immediately after it, when he barbed me, after some days, I came back again. So since then, there was no issue of brushes.
The chairman of Ungwa Rogo Barbers Association, Dahiru Sarkin Aski, says bringing them together in one location has helped regulate their activities, improve standards, and attract more customers. According to him, the association also promotes hygiene and resolves disputes among members, strengthening the trade.
Kaga ana haihuwar yaro a kawo shi muna cire mai hakkin waya da namiji muna cire mai kai wannan daga cikin ma'awadan ta kai sannan muna cire mai laɗe kaji biko sannan in ya kana buƙatar ya mai kaciya sai ya mai kaciya ya mace da kuma da an kashe ta an kawo ta za mu yi mata aski mu duba an tara da hakkin waya mu cire in ba ta da hakkin waya kuma sai an tara da mu cire mata an tara kai a cire mata.
Interestingly, the maaskar remain an important part of daily life. By combining tradition with improved safety standards, they continue to earn a living while preserving a long-standing cultural practice.
This craft of maaskar stands. You know, you would raise your hand if I ask if you've ever been to that salon. Most of us can attest. After the cut, you will look just like the real you, no filters. And from where I come from, they call it fadon, clean cuts all the time. Now let's take a break. More to come. Just stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. They say a doctor's work is never done. As such, for Senator Ibrahim Oloriegbe, the duty of care did not end in the consulting room. So, from treating patients, his focus is now on healing systems, strengthening communities, and re-imaging an entire state. This report focuses on a doctor, his diagnosis, and vision for Kwara in the next level.
In medicine, there is little room for delay. Every second matters because a life is often on the line. For years, that sense of urgency defined the word of Senator Ibrahim Oloriegbe. But over time, his perspective began to shift. Beyond the walls of the clinic, he saw a deeper challenge, one that could not be treated with prescription alone. He began to see the system itself as the patient. That was the turning point, his decision to step into public service and into the hallowed chambers of the National Assembly as a senator.
This experience is over spreading almost 4 decades. Has given me the opportunity to have quite a number of skill, expertise, capacity, and capability, which I've demonstrated in terms of the positions I've held, both while I was in private as well as in our community, but more importantly, the one known to the public that is relevant is my service in the last 4 years that I spent in the Senate.
While at the National Assembly, Senator Oloriegbe served his constituents with distinction. His brilliance showed not just in the bills he initiated, but in the lives he touched. He facilitated the establishment of many life-changing projects across the Kwara Central Senatorial District.
Many of the community indigenous have been employed here.
The transformer provided by Senator Oloriegbe is of great benefits.
Persuaded by Kwarans, especially members of his immediate constituency, Senator Oloriegbe responded to the call to enter the race for the state's highest office, the governorship.
I'm convinced that the next chapter of Kwara State requires tested judgment, disciplined governance, and a leader who's ready to serve from the very first day.
At his declaration, the senator doctor set out his next prescription, moving beyond temporary fixes to lasting solutions. But the true testament to his stewardship emerged in that moment. A man, Usman Yahya, stepped forward, unannounced, with a deeply personal testimony, transforming what was meant to be a political gathering into something deeply human. Usman Yahya recounted the journey of his 30-year-old son, Muhammad Awal Dayo Yahya, who lives with Down syndrome. Muhammad has speech defect, but his father and supervisor at work testified to how Senator Oloregbe facilitated his deployment at the Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Budegba, making it possible for him to earn a decent living and contribute to the development of the society.
Since Yaya have been employed, we didn't need any helping hand from our side. So he has been helping us to back any type.
Despite the disability associated with his condition, he has a lot of profound ability. Dayo can drive. He's so proficient in barbing.
I feel excited because it's somebody that I have lost hope on him.
Development is not just about infrastructure, but about people, dignity, and creating opportunities for everyone to contribute. For Senator Oloregbe, that is the real impact. At the heart of his vision is what he calls a policy pact, a structured plan to reposition Kwara for sustainable growth.
Impacting life is another way of promoting development. So make a change where you are. More grace to the Senator. Now let's talk love. In Borno State, duty bowed briefly to delight, and the weight of leadership gave way to the warmth of family as new unions were sealed. Within this rare moment, the children of Borno State Governor Babagana Umar Zulum stepped into a new beginning where two lives became one. Mohamed Goni tells us how 4 children of the governor took bold steps.
From the early hours, the Maiduguri Central Mosque overflowed with dignitaries who gathered to witness what many described as a historic convergence of Nigeria's political and social elites. Leading the roll call was Vice President Kashim Shettima, alongside state governors, lawmakers, party leaders of the All Progressives Congress, diplomats, traditional rulers and elder statesmen, all drawn together by the bonds of celebration. 4 unions, each unique yet equally symbolic, were solemnized in accordance with Islamic rites. Umar Babagana Umara exchanged vows with Fatima Sharif Azaki, while Abba Abubakar Umara was joined with Fatima Ibrahim Musa. In the same spirit, Mamman Babagana Umara married Yagana Mustafa Ali Basuguma, and Aisha Babagana Umara found her partner in Muhammad Idi Bardi. Each ceremony reflected religion and traditions, with prominent figures standing in as guardians, reinforcing the communal essence of marriage. A modest yet symbolic dowry of 12 gold coins was paid for each bride. With the solemn rites concluded, the celebration shifted to the Government House Multipurpose Hall as guests were treated to a vibrant reception filled with laughter, reunions, and shared joy. Amidst the festivities, words of wisdom flowed freely, urging patience, understanding, and faith as the foundation of lasting unions.
We pray that Allah will bless this union for the groom and the bride. This is a special moment for them.
Today, by God's grace, they have started another journey. My prayer to them, tolerance, perseverance, and also love one another.
So they should share love, respect one another, be patient.
They should not listen to outsiders. Thirdly, they should be patient with one another.
We pray to Allah to bless their marriage and to guide them to a very successful marital life.
It is my sincere prayer that Almighty Allah will bless the marriage and then give them more offspring and then make this marriage a blessed one.
Well, I would like to advise the newly married couples to be patient with one another, to be very prayerful, and then not to allow third party into their relationship.
Peace and harmony. That's what everybody is hoping for, and that is what we are praying for them to have.
To be patient to one another and also to be able to console one another whenever issues so that it doesn't escalate to anybody, no matter how close they are.
May Allah bless this union
with blessed children, pious children, children that will live to be the comfort of the eyes of their parents.
The occasion drew dignitaries from across political divides, underscoring a shared respect and the unifying power of togetherness in Nigeria.
Congratulations to the couples and the families. Still talking love, when love called, Okpo answered with drums, colors and celebration. At the country home of Chief Fidelis and Dr. Chioma Aunze in Ogene village in Anambra State, two hearts became one. We are talking about the union of Millicent Aunze and Raymond Okoye. Chinyere Fesi Okoye brings us highlights of a love story that lit up Ogene village. It was a gathering of well-wishers, particularly the academic community, for the wedding of the second daughter of Dr. Chioma Aunze, rector of Federal Polytechnic, Oko. Following the completion of the traditional rites, the bride was formally handed over to her husband's family. The ceremony continued at the church for the holy solemnization, where the couple exchanged vows. Catholic Bishop of the Catholic Diocese of Awka, Paulinus Ezeokafo, advised the couple to make God the center of their marriage and remain committed to one another.
The basic thing that we carry them through is love. And because where there is love, there is the way to live life.
Tolerate each other because we are all from the different backgrounds.
For one to succeed on this project, one has to work very hard and pray very hard.
The couple signed the marriage certificate, sealing their union in accordance with the doctrine of the church. With the church ceremony concluded, attention shifted to the reception venue. The newlyweds, Mr. and Mrs. Raymond Okoye, made their entrance alongside members of the bridal train, welcomed by an array of guests and dignitaries.
She's lovely, jovial, and peace-loving.
Chairman of the occasion and Chairman, Governing Council of Federal Polytechnic Oko, Barnabas Gimade, joined other guests to offer advice to the couple.
Do not be carried away by the glamour of what you see here today. As soon as we are all done, take your wife and run.
Couples are supposed to be best gossip partners. They must endeavor to talk and laugh about everything.
Two things is important. The groom to love the wife. The bride obey. That is submissive to the husband.
For them to build love, trust, and understanding.
Long life, prosperity, God's wisdom, and the unconditional love.
I'm praying for him and the wife. They can born as they can.
They don't give space to anyone, whether parents, friends, any form of relationship.
And so, this marks the beginning of the journey as one, themed Military 2026. Congratulations to the couple, and may they remain in love. Our social diary is still sizzling from the airwaves to the altar. It's been a remarkable journey of purpose, passion, and profound impact for a man whose voice once informed the public and whose calling went on to transform lives. Reverend Adebi Christopher Alabi clocked 70 recently and bowed out of active pastoral service in grand style. Kemi Oshin has highlights of the celebration of a life devoted to faith, service, and excellence.
At 70, many slowed down, but for B. Alabi, a cleric and former broadcaster, the milestone is a celebration of age, impact, influence, and an enduring legacy. From the newsroom to the sanctuary, the septuagenarian describes his life as a journey of dedication, discipline, and deep faith.
I am today. I believe NTA had a great influence because NTA brought me up. I was able to know people, and then there was discipline.
The celebration of his 70th birthday and retirement drew tribute and admiration of his aged mother, who graced the occasion.
He has a spirit of excellence. Whatever he lays his hands to do, of course God's grace is also there, but he does it with all his heart. He's serving the Lord, he does it with all his heart.
My dad has been my rock. My dad has been what has molded me to what I am today. You know, all his teachings has not been for nothing.
He's a very supportive dad. He doesn't even take me like a son, he takes me like a friend. He talks to me on another level that I feel like as if I've known him for many years.
And I appreciate the grace of God upon his life. Just as I said, he's a very frank person. He's a man that loves God.
Guests noted that his years in broadcasting were marked by professionalism and integrity, qualities that seamlessly transitioned into his pastoral calling.
Very straightforward human being. There are no frills about him.
The legacies he left behind are so important, so good, that it's been difficult to actually meet up with that peace.
I'm very proud of him. I mean, as the love extends to other members of the family as well.
The Ogbomosho-born B. Alabi worked with the Nigerian Television Authority, where he met his beautiful wife, Omobolanle. He was State House correspondent to former military president Ibrahim Babangida. He left NTA in 2000 and was later ordained a reverend at the New Covenant Church in 2001. The event climaxed with a Thanksgiving service for a life committed to God and humanity as he bowed out of active service at the platinum age of 70.
Congratulations to Reverend Adebi. And just so you know, good things happen at the NTA. Let's take another break. More to come. It's good to know you're still there. For many young footballers across communities in Kano State, the pitch became a pathway to opportunities as the Staron Community Development Foundation organized a grassroots sporting tournament that rewards talent, hard work, teamwork, and hope. Aside the prizes won by champions, the initiative offered youths a platform to showcase their abilities, build discipline, and strengthen bonds among communities within the Kano Central Senatorial District. Elizabeth Yila Lamido was there for Newsline.
Founded to strengthen grassroots communities, the Staron Community Development Foundation is leveraging sports as a structured avenue for youth engagement, discipline, and positive social development. As part of this effort, the foundation organized a tournament featuring 16 teams from 15 local government areas in Kano Central. Each team received 200,000 naira, while Gwale emerged winner with 5 million naira, followed by Nasarawa with 3 million naira, and Dala local government with 1 million naira.
We truly appreciate the opportunity of Staron have given us, and we're so grateful to be the first in the competition.
I've gained the best player of the tournament and I'm very excited to be part of it. And I have a direct ticket to Nigeria under 17. I'm very happy to that.
Founder of the foundation, Abubakar Sadiq Umar, said the initiative is aimed at motivating youths, discovering talents, and creating opportunities for growth.
We have embarked on the scouting program, which is to tease out the talents, the skillful players, those that are blessed to be a blessing, and showcase them to Africa and the world.
Beyond sports, the Staron Community Development Foundation has implemented humanitarian projects across northern Nigeria, including water access, electricity support, and healthcare interventions as part of its broader development drive.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Kaduna State is home to several landmarks linked to the colonial administration of Lord Frederick Lugard, from the former residence associated with him, now serving as a government facility, to bridges and public spaces that stand bear his name. These structures reflect a significant part of Nigeria's colonial history. Our correspondent examines these landmarks and reports on their historical relevance to the states.
Kaduna, a city rich in history and administrative heritage, still echoes the footsteps of Frederick Lord Lugard, a man seen as a central figure in Nigeria's colonial history.
Lugard himself was in Nigeria in the 19th century, in the late 1890s. He led the several conquests, several campaigns to conquer states in the Nigerian region. The conquest of Bida in 1897 and in 1899 itself, and then the conquest of Sokoto in 1903. Lugard was in Nigeria by the close of the 19th century and became the governor of the Northern Protectorate from 1901 till 1907 when he left Nigeria.
At the heart of the city lies the ever-busy Lord Lugard roundabout, a landmark that once served as his residence during his administrative stay in northern Nigeria. Today, the site has evolved into a symbol of democratic governance, housing the Kaduna State House of Assembly, where laws guiding the state are enacted.
Internally, it resembles the British House of Commons, but outside it's a mixture of northern Nigerian architecture, Islamic culture, all meshed into one. So they built it 1947 and they named it after Lord Frederick Lugard.
1970, 71, 72, we use it as one of our training ground. We that serve the North Central State government. I can remember I did their clerical training in that very particular building in one of the hall as a clerical assistant in training.
72 years since its re-erection here in Gamji Gate in the year 1954, the Lord Lugard Bridge still looks viable. But of course, it requires a little touch for one to be able to cross to the other side, although its historical landmark remains. The bridge stands as an architectural structure and a reminder of Kaduna's colonial past, blending history with modern-day leisure. Historians note that Lord Lugard's administrative policies laid the foundation for governance structures still visible in Nigeria today.
The emirate concerning the northern Nigeria, they have their own separate area. And then the British Parliament use the other part as their own office. So that's why it is called Lord Lugard.
However, his legacies remain a subject of mixed reaction, viewed by some as unfair and by others as a symbol of colonial rule.
Because of the economic factors the British were looking for, that was why the capital of northern Nigeria was moved from Zungeru to Kaduna State. So Lord Lugard, he moved all the administrative capitals to Kaduna State, including his men.
Interestingly, these landmarks are appreciated as relics of history and part of daily life routes, traversed institutions engaged and spaces enjoyed. They serve as constant reminder of a past that continues to influence the present.
is enlightening, and I think the younger ones need to visit all the time to learn more of our history. We'll take a last break to stay with us. Late Sir Michael Uchenna Ogu has been laid to rest in Ejuna, Ubokpa, Nsukka, Enugu State. Sympathizers say his life was defined by service, faith, and integrity. He was the father-in-law of Deputy Director News, NTA Headquarters, Bonaventure Mudo. Ifeanyi Daniel Ukpai's report is hereby presented.
The funeral mass held at the Immaculate Heart of Mary Parish. In his sermon, Reverend Father Emeka Asogwa reminds the congregation that the measure of a life is not in its duration, but in its contribution to humanity. He notes that at 82, late Sir Michael's life was a finished work of grace.
If you are able to know the true identity of the Christian and live by that, all the verses of that Matthew chapter 1 to verse 12, you will benefit from that.
As the remains of the deceased were lowered into the earth, tears flowed for the loss of a patriarch and that of gratitude for a life well lived. After the interment, it was time to celebrate the impactful life he lived.
He's someone that is very peaceful. In their family, I've never even witnessed exchange of words. The same thing with him and my mom.
My dad is my gist mate. My dad is my advisor. He has always been there. He's a loving daddy.
Friends, in-laws, and associates from across the country were on ground to pay their last respects.
Very humble, very intelligent, very accommodating, God-fearing.
Let them keep united and move. The sky is their limit.
Great man, he's a hero, he's an icon. I'm proud to call him my father. Since I lost my dad, he has been a dad to me. He's the best father-in-law in the world.
Since the children have no father on this earth, let Jesus Christ be their father. A humble, a philanthropist, somebody that will like to help at any time.
Sir Michael Uchenna Ogu was a pillar of the Obokpa community. Little wonder he was elected the traditional ruler of the community before his demise.
May his soul rest in peace. The atmosphere was thick with emotions in the quiet town of Ifite-Dunu, Kofia local government area of Anambra State, when late Frank Ejike Onwora, former Deputy Commandant, Federal Fire Service Asokoro, was laid to rest. Daniel Ukpai reports.
Family members and sympathizers gathered to pay their last respects to a man many describe as a pillar of his community. Archbishop Augustine Nworika, president and founder of the Throne of Grace Church, Enugu, reminds the congregation about the brevity of life and urges them to emulate the late Frank's humility and kindness.
To remember that our time is short here. We're just passing by. Nobody knows the date, nobody knows the time. It's an appointment we all have to keep.
As the body was laid to rest, grief was evident, but so was gratitude for a life devoted to family and service.
To be done on this side until the day that the trumpet will sound.
The deputy controller, you can call him area commander, but to me he was my dad.
Oh, I will miss that mama call. And I'll miss that sometimes midnight call that my tummy is something today.
Frank Ugochukwu Ejike Onwora, a native of Ifite-Dunu in Anambra State, was remembered as a committed husband, father, and community figure whose influence extended beyond his hometown.
He's the best in-law on earth. It's sad that it's gone.
Ejike is an embodiment of beauty,
When I say beauty in heart, to his family, to colleagues, friends, and his children.
I've known Frank for up to close to over 10 years. He's a very dedicated man, and we saw him slip away when the sickness was, and I saw how resilient my sister was, and there's nothing we can say, but we thank God for his life.
He is survived by his wife, Obiageli Onora, a former staff of Nigerian Television Authority, children, in-laws, and other relatives.
May God comfort the family. It's time to go. Remember, we all need each other. Do not isolate. When hurt, speak up. And don't forget to always read before putting pen to paper. Your signature is powerful. We'll see you next week.